Anchor points and milestones are really important concepts. I've just been talking with one of my mentors about this idea of anchoring, and I wanted to share with you what it means to me and why it's important and why it can actually help you with your business thinking, your business growth, and your, I guess, abundance-based and growth-based mindset in building your business and building up yourself as a business owner. So what am I talking about here? This is a really good time of year for looking back and reflecting on where we've come, how far we've come, and projecting where we're heading, right? We all do it. This time of year is the time of year when we start thinking ahead and we also start looking back. It's like the New Year's resolution effect, right? Thinking about where you've come from can bring up feelings of gratitude, bring up feelings of awe, bring up feelings of being humble, and bring back memories of what it felt like to achieve the first steps in your business journey. So I look back to when I first officially started doing mentoring. Now, I've been mentoring mental health professionals and business owners for years and years and years. But I first established my mentoring business as a separate business about 2 years ago, just under 2 years ago. So I've actually got financial anchor points when I can look back and see when there was $0 in the bank account where mentoring revenue goes. And I can see in numerical value how that has changed over the years. But more importantly, I can remember back to the very first official mentoring sale and the very first conversation, so even before that, the very first conversation I had about adopting an abundance-based mindset with somebody else in my field, having that conversation with her and having that conversation around, well, there's more than enough people to go around, so don't hold yourself back, don't limit your ideas, just get out there and do the damn thing. So anchor points. So the conversation Nicola and I were having this morning was around anchor points, so that you, from a psychological perspective, I would call this encoding. You can't remember what you don't encode. So memory has 3 key elements: encoding, storage, and retrieval. Encoding is where you're soaking in all of the elements of a particular experience and you're locking away those sensory elements and who was around you at the time, and you may even remember what you were wearing, where you were, all that sort of stuff. So encoding that and finding a way to make sure that you remember that significant moment. So it might be that you've bought yourself a special thing, or it might be that you've gotten a tattoo. It could be any number of things, right? Bought yourself an artwork, whatever it might be that's salient to you, to act as a trigger to that memory. So you've encoded all the juice of that amazing experience, of that turning point in your business career. You've stored that information away so that in the future you can retrieve that information back and really relive that moment. So for me, being humble around the memory of what it felt like the very first time I made an official mentoring sale, if you like, to remind myself, no matter what happens today, tomorrow, 5 years down the track, I don't want to lose touch with how significant that first moment was. And there are other moments like that throughout my journey with this particular business. So thinking about anchor points, because then what you can do is you can reflect back, and you can, especially when times are tough, you can reflect back and you can actually just indulge in a little bit of gratitude to yourself for taking brave steps in your business, for putting in the hard work, for having the courage to put yourself out there. It's so important to do that sometimes, because we do spend time being grateful to others for the help that they give us, the ideas that they support us with, the conversations that we have, the inspiration, and all of that sort of stuff. It's easier for us to be grateful to others, but we don't always think about being grateful to ourselves. So these anchor points, these memories, these juicy turning points in our business lives or in our careers, it's really important to spend that time making sure that you're going to remember that. It might be a diary entry, it might be a journal entry, it might be a Facebook post that pops up in your news feed 3 years down the road. Whatever it is, do something to create those anchor points, those memory anchor points. Related to that, milestones in the road ahead. These are things that help with stressful times. These are things that help with planning. It helps you with knowing that you're on the right path. It helps you with knowing where you're going. So creating milestones in the road ahead. And this is where planning, and I often talk about backward engineering. So if you know where you want to be roughly in 5 years' time, you can start working backwards from there and say, well, how will I know that I'm on the right track towards that big goal in 12 months' time? And how will I know when I'm halfway towards that goal? And how will I know when I've taken the first step in the right direction towards that smaller goal? So this is called what I call creating milestones in the road ahead. It's also important to have milestones in the road ahead that are pressure release valves. So we know that business ownership can be isolating. We know that it can be intensely stressful at times. We know it can be exhilarating. There are so many emotions tied up with business ownership. So it's important to have milestones in the road ahead that allow some release of some of that pressure. That might be a booked-in planning day. It might be regular appointments with your accountant, or a mentor. It might be a planned holiday. Whatever it is, milestones in the road ahead. I've talked recently about having a wall calendar where you can see the whole year at a glance. So being able to see these milestones in the road ahead on your wall calendar gives you the opportunity to just touch base, check in with where you're going, check in with where you're at currently, see what's coming up for yourself, and take that moment to take stock. It helps you feel organised. It helps you know that, especially if you're in a stressful patch with your business, that there's something coming up that's going to help you with that, whether it's a mentoring session or an accountancy session or a holiday, whatever it might be. So go away, have a think about what these two concepts mean for you. Anchor points for the past stuff. So in the present moment, creating a salient way of processing what's going on in this significant moment for you so that you can use that in the future as an anchor point to look back at, to steady yourself, look at how far you've come, to provide you with gratitude around what you've achieved, what you've put in, what you've sacrificed, if you like, on your business journey. And then milestones in the road ahead. So you can see where you're going. You can see what's coming up. That helps you have a bit of a navigational tool. Have a fantastic day today. Bye for now.